So one of the hardest tasks to do when you're reassembling a lower is to get the pivot pin into place. The reason why it's such a challenge is because the actual pivot pin detent spring kind of goes in like this, and you can see how it sticks out just a little bit. Then you need to compress this detent pin inside here and then insert the pivot pin. Now, you can buy some fancy tools online that will help you do this, but to be honest, what you can do is just get an inexpensive, it's called a 1/4 inch universal Clee-vis pin. It looks like this, and you can get it at the hardware store for about $1.50, and the process is pretty simple. So let me show you how to go about actually using this to get your pivot pin reinstalled. So coming in from the opposite end, we're going to put our Clee-vis pin in and just line up one of the holes with the actual entry hole here for the pivot pin spring retention area. So we just feed this through just like this. Now we have that spring in there. Now we're going to come along and right behind it insert our detent pin. Now you'll notice the detent pin doesn't go all the way in, but the Clee-vis pin helps us retain everything into place. We push in with a punch, and you'll see in here that I push it in. You can see the punch coming through on the other side. We just want to get that compressed enough and then rotate it up just like this. Now what we've done is we've captured the detent itself and the spring. It's in a compressed form, and now the next step here is to just push our pivot pin through from this side while retaining the pressure on it as we're coming through. Let's go through that step. Okay, we're going to put the pivot pin in. One thing to keep in mind is to keep the channel facing up. The reason being is that you don't want the pin to jump into the channel right away. Right now you just want to put pressure on it. So generally speaking, keep something firm like your fingertip, for instance, over here on this side, and remember that you're going to get pressure back on this, and then you just simply push it through until that pivot pin goes through just like this. And there you go. Now it's in. Now once you've got the pivot pin inserted into both sides of the receiver, then just rotate the pivot pin until you hear it, that detent snap into place, and you're all set. There you go.